How's it going, man? Thing good?
What's up, guys? Yes, what's up going on, Jerome? Welcome to those of you that are watching. I'm your host, Brandon Troy, host and co-creator of Movers and Shakers Unlimited, and I am joined by...
Jerome Bourgeois, co-creator, co-founder, Movers Shakers Unlimited. Happy 4th of July weekend, man. Gonna go find a good cookout?
For sure, man. And happy 4th of July for those of you out there, those of you that are, going to be celebrating this weekend. Hopefully you have some fun things planned for the weekend. As you guys know, every Saturday we like to, dig into some of the stories that made the rounds in the entertainment industry on this series known as This Week in Review that we run every Saturday. Before we get into some of the news bits that have made the rounds, of course, I want to, just hop into a couple of minutes, some reminders, if you will. Just reminding you that you can be a part of the conversation that we have going on live, as always. However, if you come across these episodes after the fact, and you see some of these episodes that are archived, be sure to follow along in the story with TWNRMNSU. That's the hashtag that we use, with our show to, discuss further a lot of the conversations that we had over the course of many of these episodes. And as always, if you enjoy many of these, much of the content that we do, you can also be a Patreon supporter. So I'll put in the link right down below. So don't forget, you can, as I say, you can find us on Patreon. We have some cool perks in place for those of you, that are enjoy some of our content and would like to, provide some support. So with that being said, we do have a quick milestone that we want to, cover, Jerome. And what is that before we hop into our first story?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is our 20th episode, so thanks for the support and checking out the episodes that we put together. But yeah, we're just gonna keep creating some more episodes. So we love doing this. So
absolutely. So with that being said, hopping into the first story that we had this week, we got word that that Lovecraft Country, the awesome series that we had on HBO, is actually not returning for a season 2, unfortunately. While I pull up the post that we have from Misha Green, Jerome, just your initial thoughts.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I haven't seen the entire first season, but the episodes I did watch, I mean, the show is pretty amazing and it's just really unique and different, and gives you a different perspective on history. So yeah, it's sad to see because it looked like they would. It looked like it would probably be around longer, but you never know. I mean, I know we were kind of talking off camera. It's sometimes it might have to do with, like, I don't know, maybe if like the ratings weren't matching maybe the budget. Who knows? But it's just sad to see. But you never know. I mean, yeah, there are examples of shows where they get canceled or they don't come back for a season on one network and then they pop up on another network. So I don't know. You never know.
For sure. And I wanted to share this post because this was, that indication of the show not returning. Misha Green, as I said, the creator, she had a post where she said, "A taste of season 2 of its season 2 Bible. Wish we could have brought you Lovecraft Country Supremacy. Thank you to everyone who watched and engaged." And she had like this breakdown of this map that gives us a look at the various parties that would have sovereigns over each of those portions of the U.S. much in the same way that we had earlier. In our country's history. So kind of ironic, that we have 4th of July this weekend and commenting on the history of our nation. So it's still very much a bummer to not have this show return for sure. And it's a testament to just how talented everyone was involved in it is, because Um, Many of those folks that are a part of the series, we're going to see them in other things. So like they're going to be in much of
Yep.
the shows that we're going to have right now, currently that we have this summer, and even going forward for years to come. I mean, we have alums of Lovecraft Country in the MCU. I know we
Yep.
are big fans of the MCU here at Movers and Shakers Unlimited, and they obviously when it comes to getting talent, whether it's creatively or even amongst their casting wise with their actors and actresses. They have a very great track record. So with that being said, we had Jonathan Majors, who was the lead in that series, making appearance as the iconic villain King the Conqueror. He's slated to appear in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Unless he
However,
shows up in Loki, maybe.
However,
Maybe.
based on how things are playing right now, we'll see.
Yeah, who knows? Might be. They might be in
He
the
may
quantum realm right now. No, anyway.
he may pop up somewhere else. I will just say that he may pop up somewhere else.
We'll see.
So yeah, for sure. But still, yes, a bummer. With that being said, too, I'll put it in the bio or in the description as well. There's an awesome interview that we had last year with the cinematographer with Robert McLaughlin. He also is a cinematographer for shows like Game of Thrones and Westworld. So be sure to check it out. As I said, I'll put it in the description because it was a really awesome interview and him sharing some behind the scenes stories of doing that show. Which, as I said, you guys have to check it out if you have not loved that country. So with that being said, moving on to our next story involves the Oscars. So over the course of this week as well, there was a story that was shared that the Oscars are inviting new members to join. So as I'm putting the story up, Jerome, you want to comment on it.
Yeah, I thought this was an interesting story because they're inviting 395 new members to be a part of the academy to actually vote, and that's a big deal. And I was looking at the numbers; it's about, I said 46% of the new class are women. I think it's 39% are from marginalized communities, so like racially and ethnically. And then about, I think it's like 50 over, just over 50%, like 56 or so, something, are like from outside of the United States. So that's a big deal. I mean, um, it goes to show, like, obviously, there needs to be more progress in Hollywood and how these awards are given out and awarding people based on merit in a diverse way. And it's not just winning or being nominated that's actually important. It's also the people who are voting. And it shows that, like, not just, it's good that they're giving not only the winners, people who won previously, but also the nominees, and also people just have, I guess, who've been in projects that have been nominated several times or for whatever reason. I mean, I was looking at the list. You have obviously Yoo Jung Yoon from Minari, Stephen Yoon, Henry Golding from Crazy Rich Asians, her, who won the Academy Award for, man, she's almost an EGOT from Judas and the Black Messiah, that song she did. And yeah, I mean, even Janet Jackson's up. So it's like, it's pretty cool. I mean, you're seeing some people from back in the day who've
And
had
here's the
work
list,
out.
guys. So yeah, like
Yeah,
there's
so it's
there's
pretty
quite
cool.
a impressive list here. The thing that I found interesting about it, and they commented, and again, this is just to give a hat tip. This is from a Deadline. Um, they you assume when you hear folks being nominated and winning Oscars that, oh yeah, they must, everyone who acts must be a part of the Academy. But no, like it is something that you still have to be inducted into and accepted into. So it's not just a given, just as an actor. That I think, is a misconception. A lot of people just assume that, all actors and all creatives that are in that industry, are just automatically a part of the academy. That's just not necessarily true. But another part of it that I found interesting, and I'm going to see if I can locate it here. It also talks about the fact that in terms of the induction of new members, it's substantially more than what is the norm, which is great. So yeah, here it is. So it says the number of new, let me highlight this, the number of new invitees in exercise done only once a year has been dramatically more than in half from last year's class of 819. So there were quite a number of selections this year, and then just as you said, the fact that there was a focus, Jerome, on that diversity piece, because that just is something that we're seeing more and more and more of, where there is a call out there, not just from those in the industry, but even those that are audience members, that there needs to be more no more minorities. There needs to be more diversity across the board. So good on them that the effort is being made for that to happen. Do you have any other
Yeah, I would just say,
comments or thoughts on that?
yeah. And also, I'll just correct myself. It's actually 53% are from outside of the United States that are going to be part of this group. So that's great. But yeah, this is what's interesting. If you think about it, whenever people have complaints or they're just like, how did this movie win or whatever, it's reflected on who's voting. And
Exactly.
I know that also that in the industry it's kind of like, I think they call it ranked choice voting or whatever, where it's like, if I think people for certain categories, or at least the bigger categories, they have like, you might pick like your top 3 or top 5. So if everyone, say the first category, the first pick that everyone has doesn't get like 50% of the vote or over 50% or whatever, they just keep going down the list. So that all has an impact on which movie's going to win, which actor wins, which actress, director, writer, all that stuff is important. And it's like, I mean, look, it is true that, just because you win an Oscar doesn't mean you're going to have, you're automatically going to have the best career or whatever than anyone else. There's examples on both sides, but it does help. It helps, at least it's, I would say it specifically helps a lot of, lower budget or art house films, or films that not that many people know about. And that definitely helps with box office and just getting publicity about critically acclaimed films that maybe don't have that that the that highlight, that limelight that like some of the bigger films have. So that's important. And also just like talent that maybe you never heard of, like people who are just up and coming or just now they're getting their break. It shines a good light, a light on that. So regardless of if it's gonna automatically help somebody get a certain quote for their next project, or just get better opportunities, which usually a lot of times it does. I know not always, but it doesn't hurt. And a lot of times it's important for filmmakers and actors and everyone in the industry, just to be respected by just to see that their peers are respecting them and are are giving them that acclaim, and giving them their roses, their flowers, and just acknowledging their work. And that's the key moment. It's like it is the highest award within the industry, with to have your peers look at your work and acknowledge that. And um you know if you're an actor, or a filmmaker that says Academy Award nominee or Academy Award winner, like that means something. So it's good to see
Goes a
that.
long way. Goes a long
It's
way.
really good to see that, like, now we're gonna, you know I don't know, I guess the way I would put it is, like, I feel like it's more of a fair. It's kind of, to me, it's how it's becoming more fair with how this voting process is going. Because, man, I will tell you, I mean, I know you'd agree with me too. Like, there's some years you're kind of like, how did this movie get nominated around these? You kind of, it kind of makes you wonder. You're like, what happened? But this is definitely going to help. And like I said, it's baby steps. It's not going to happen overnight, but this is definitely a good step in that direction. So just wanted to
For,
highlight that.
for sure, for sure. And with that being said, and talking, further about the industry, switch gears a second, about another story that is, falls in line with what's happening. Is this week we also received the news that the American film market is set to return this November in LA. Let me pull up the story. Jerome, your thoughts on this? After that, I'm gonna get into the quote that we have here out of this story from Variety.
Yeah, I thought this was an important story to share because it's another step in the right direction on how, the industry is opening up, and this is like one of the key events to go to. You have exhibitors and sales agents and distributors from all sorts of countries internationally, and it's a place to network and to sell your movie, or to try to sell the rights to your film ahead of time so you can finance your film. So the fact that they're doing it in person is definitely progress, and how things are opening up again. I mean, hopefully everything, it'll still go on regardless if there's, I know, like, there's this Delta variant or other things have, other there could be other COVID strains that I know it's impacting, that was impacting like the UK and other countries, obviously, with certain shutdowns again. But as long as something like that, as long as that we don't have like another shutdown later, I mean, it's a step in the right direction. Um, and it makes a difference. I mean, to say, to try to make a deal with someone virtually. I mean, they had this market virtually last year, and there still were a lot of people online. I guess I'm sure there were a lot of deals made, but to actually meet someone in person and try to promote your film, your idea, or to sell the rights, or to sell the movie, or just to network. This is an important event to go to, and it's good that they're having it this year, and it's just a testament to, also, like, like with other festivals that are having their actual in-person festivals. We're getting some sort of normalcy now in Hollywood, so
Yeah, I
I'm
was gonna
looking
say
forward to
it's
trying to cover
probably
it too. Yeah,
I was
so
gonna say probably even more so now after the year and a half that we've had and the industry has had. It's probably even more important now for things to be able to kick back and get jump started again. So, but yeah, I want to hop into that comment that is in this story. It's from the It's from the AFM MD, so Jonathan Wolf. He was quoted as saying, and I have it here, I want to let you know that plans are well underway for an in-person AFM this year, taking place November 2nd to 7th. California is fully reopened, and we are optimistic that the travel restrictions still in place will be lifted soon. So again, going back to what you were saying, it's really, I feel like it's still, while the goal is for this to happen, that there is still a possibility, based on the constant changing
yeah.
a landscape of what we have happening now with, I guess, this with the Delta variant that we have, that it still could very well go virtual, because in that story as well, it talked about how the 2020 edition was virtual. So fingers crossed that they are able, once November is here, that we are still in a position where that can happen live and in person. So before I hop gears, any final thoughts on that?
No, I mean, I just hope it goes through, because I'm trying to be there. So
For real,
we're
yeah,
gonna cover, do whatever. I
for
mean, yeah,
real.
I've been up there. I've been up there once, like when I was in LA. Just going around, just seeing, the projects that are getting, the movies that people were selling, and that are acquired. It is kind of funny because you have a lot of international, um, sales agents and distribution companies, or that are acquiring films, and some of these movies you're like, I've never heard of this. It's like, but that just shows, like, there's this big market for that has an appetite for acquiring films, and even some that you might have never heard of, even with celebrities that you maybe haven't seen in a while. But it doesn't matter. It just shows there's an audience for all these films, and it's good to see those opportunities come back, at least at an in-person event. So I'm definitely excited to see if it goes on, and we're gonna be up there or not. Well, I'm at least, I'm gonna try to be up there.
That's the plan. So, with
So,
that being said, switching gears to from the large screen to the small screen, if you will, there was a story that hit this week, telling us that musical artist The Weeknd will actually soon enough be co-writing and starring in a new HBO series. Let me pull this up now. Um, so in the story, and again, this is hat tip to Variety. He is developing a series at HBO. Again, HBO with their blueprint of being able to secure a lot of these series. But yes, in the story it says Weekend is developing a series at HBO, which he would star as well as co-write. It's currently called The Idol, and it follows a female pop singer who starts a romance with an enigmatic LA club owner who is the leader of a secret cult. Just off the premise, just the initial premise of this show, what are your thoughts, Jerome? I know we were having a
Yeah.
brief conversation of our thoughts about this offline, but initial thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm wondering if if the Weeknd's gonna play the club owner. I
The
mean, who
club
knows?
owner,
Yeah, I
right?
mean, because if it's a
Yeah,
female pop star, I mean, or maybe I don't
yeah,
know. But I mean, initially, I just thought this was an interesting story too because it's interesting seeing the trend now. It's not as common, but seeing more of these recording artists get some really big, TV or movie deals, or make that transition. And I know, like the Weeknd, he had like, he's playing. He played himself in Uncut Gems. Yeah, he was good doing good, playing himself. And I think he co-wrote an episode of was the American Dad, or I think it was one of those shows. But yeah, it just shows like how a lot of these artists, or not, there's a decent amount who are pretty, they're multi-talented, and it's interesting that he's also developing it too. He's not just going to be starring in it. And you have
and yes,
Sam,
it was
Sam,
American
yeah,
Dad, by the way, to answer your
yeah,
question.
yeah. And Sam, yeah. So it was, and Sam Levinson, well, Barry Levinson's son, but also behind Euphoria and Malcolm and Marie. Like, um, it's funny how he's collaborating with a lot of these musical slash actors. But no, I mean, it's cool because his style, I can see his style, the style of his, like the style of Euphoria. I could see that complementing what the Weekend brings to whatever the show is, if it's going to be in that vein. I can only imagine that's probably one of the reasons why um, HBO brought on Sam Levinson, or if that actually happened, that's the reason why it probably got greenlit. But yeah, I mean, all these secret societies or cults or whatever. I mean, look, I know we were talking about it could be you talking about Nexium or something. To me, I'm like, I mean, that could be one of them, but I think there's several
Well,
types of groups I would say that this also could be a commentary on too, and
yeah,
within Hollywood, not just that one. But to me, that is interesting because that is something that is not just well, definitely, well, at least in Hollywood, there's all these different either we can say conspiracy theory, but wouldn't even really completely say conspiracy theory, but just the idea of like these different organizations and how cultish they could be, or if they are a cult, and
yeah,
how much of an impact do they have on some of these actors and filmmakers, and also within the industry too. So
and
of
also in
getting deals made too. So
and then also to go further into just basically what the premise is alluding to, just that idea of you have an upcoming star, they're so hungry to be able to get their career jump started, that they are in that vulnerable state, and how these figures or organizations, however way you want to spin it, whether it's the organizational, whether it's the figure that is behind the organization, preys on that. And unfortunately, you hear so
yeah,
many horror stories about that, of how they've taken advantage of that, unfortunately. So it sounds like an interesting premise. So I would be interested to see how it turns out. Of course, I can't really make a statement on it yet until I see like a trailer or something along those lines. But at least on paper, it seems like an intriguing story of the possibilities of what they could do with it. But before hopping into our next one, did you have any other final comments on it?
no, I mean, I would just say for me, like, I haven't seen every show on HBO, but HBO is pretty consistent with the type of
Yeah,
shows they put out. So I'm sure it's going to be somewhat to me automatically. If it's on HBO, it's going to probably be quality. And the level of quality, yeah, it depends on what you like, I guess. But they're really good at.
yeah, their
To,
expectations
to
with
me,
the
HBO,
shows.
is like the stand, like all this whole golden era of TV is like, HBO has really set that trend. So I'm sure it's gonna be somewhat interesting, and the quality should be there. It's just what are you drawn to that story? That's the key. So
Right.
that
Right.
subject matter too. So
All right.
yeah.
Well, with that being said, guys, this week is actually a relatively succinct show, shorter show. So the last story that we wanted to, get into involves Black Panther. So digging into the world of the MCU. So this week it was shared that production has started on Black Panther 2. Let me pull up this story. Give me
You should hit up
one.
Fernando. See if he's gonna be in it too.
Right, right. Shout out Fernando
Shout out
Miko.
Fernando. Yeah, yeah. He had it. I laugh every time I see on Facebook. He posted that screenshot. I was like, wait. I was like, oh yeah, he's in the background. That makes me want to watch it again. Be like,
So
okay, man.
let me pull that story up. But yes, it was shared this week that production had started on this sequel to the 2018, massively, mega hit Black Panther. As you well know, the star Chadwick Boseman passed away, so there was a lot of speculation as to what will be done with the sequel. It still hasn't necessarily been shared specifically what that would be or how that would be executed. There are a lot of other wrinkles that are involved with this sequel as well, and that there's also information that we may also have the Submariner appear. Now look up the actor's name. I'm brain farting on it right now, but you can find him on Narcos Mexico. So they're going a pretty awesome route, and again speaking to that diversity that we were talking about before. They
Who,
if that
Diego Luna?
isn't
You talking about Diego
no
Luna?
no
Oh
no
no,
no
no,
no
no. Okay.
someone else.
Okay.
But yeah, like they the fact that they are going that route and not going the the stereotypical route that you would expect, and that they want to bring more diversity into their characters is awesome. So I'll pull up that actor in a second. I'm gonna pull up the story, but while I do that, Jerome, what are your thoughts on just the the concretization that this film is finally starting production?
Yeah, it made sense that they were going to shoot soon because they have, their release date is next July. I mean, they got, so they got to get it going. But yeah, it's to me, it's just weird. It's just weird even thinking about like how to look at this film when it comes out. I mean, you have to kind of temper your expectations because or manage your expectations because it's going to be hard to compare to the first one, and especially with Chadwick not being there anymore. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. They're going to really have to figure out something to make it, um, you know, just as compelling or just as interesting to move it forward. And my estimate. Oh, you good? I would just say obviously our educated guesses they're gonna have to pass the baton sometime within that
Oh,
movie or.
hold on 1 second, guys. Looks like
Oh,
we lost Jerome there
oh, can you
for
hear me or no?
a second.
Oops.
1 sec. See if we can bring it back on. Yeah, 1 sec. We lost you just
Oh,
there
okay.
for a moment, but no, go ahead.
Oh, okay, cool. I wasn't sure. Well, I'll go back. Well, basically, I was just saying that. Yeah, it's just gonna be hard to obviously to really compare to the first one. The sequel, which is regardless, even if he didn't pass away, it would have been hard too because expectations are so high. But it's going to be even different now. So it's kind of like, I'm just going into it like, just managing, not trying to even compare it to the last one because it's like I don't know how you can. It's just going to be really difficult. But obviously, they're keeping a lot of the story and the characters and whatever's going to go on in the film, close to the chest. So it's good to have some sort of surprise when it does come out. But yeah, I do want to be surprised and hopefully, you know, my educated guess, and I'm sure same with, I know we've talked about this already several times, is they're obviously going to have to pass the baton somehow to somebody, or maybe they'll rotate it. But I would be interested also to see how this is going to transition into the TV series that they're going to do too. So
Right, with the Dora Milaje.
yeah, I mean, but that's what he said. But I mean, they said it's a series about Wakanda. So I mean, there could be, it could be about, they could focus on that. I mean, we don't know. It's there's a mix. They could have several shows later, within that deal that that Ryan Coogler and his company signed.
So the actor that I was referencing before is Tenoch Huerta. I apologize, man, if I'm butchering your name, but let me see if I can share the photo of him. He was, as I said, he was in the series Narcos Mexico. Again, another series, guys, that I highly recommend you guys check out. So
I gotta finish
Narcos,
watching
as
that one
well
too.
as
The
yeah, the
first Narcos
original
was dope.
Narcos. Yeah, the original Narcos, and
The
then that
third
sequel
season was my
series.
favorite one. I like the one about the Cali cartel. Anyway, but yeah.
Yeah, so that sequel series, Narcos
Of
Mexico.
Mexico,
So while
yeah.
I'm doing that, let me pull up that picture for you guys. Let me see. Here we go.
But yeah, I mean, this is gonna be. I'm definitely hyped to see this movie though. So, um, hopefully I guess for the next, well, as long as Comic-Con is going on, maybe they'll bring some more. Maybe they'll bring some stuff to the November.
Right,
Maybe to the
right.
November event. I don't know, but yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like you just gotta go into this film just not like trying to compare it to the first one. I think that's what everyone's gonna have, because it's gonna be
It's
too
gonna be
easy.
all right. I mean, it is what it is. So
You
yeah,
just you
gentlemen
just gotta
here.
look at it like you have to look at it. You have to do it. That's how I'm gonna go into it. So, but
So yes, the gentleman here is rumored to, and I know they haven't confirmed it as of yet, will be the Submariner in the sequel Wakanda Forever. But yes, I agree with you. It's even if Bozeman, if he was, God willing, he was still around and hadn't passed away, it still would have been a major undertaking to try to top what you accomplished in that first installment. So I look forward to see what comes of it, and how they're able to shape it into its own unique thing where it respects what came before. The best sequels respects what's come before, but it allows you to travel or to explore new ground. So hopefully, it's very easy to kind of rehash, what has been successful before when you have a film like that, and to kind of like retread old ground. But the great sequels allow you to do something different. And I mean, one film when I'm thinking of movies 1 to 2 that I feel successfully do that are those that they, and I'm trying to think of an example. Probably Aliens would be a good example. So, it would be very easy to kind of do that claustrophobic, and I mean, I know it's been commented before, but it would be easy to do that claustrophobic, horror film with one Alien. But instead of doing that, you establish, what you had before, but you take it in a new direction. Instead of making it a horror film, you make it an action film. And instead of having one alien, you have, a score, of aliens. So, and on top of that, you introduce a new element. You have the queen alien that you add a new element to the lore and to the story that allows you to still have your make your statement as an installment, but still appreciating or honoring what's come before, and also honoring it as well by not repeating it. That's another thing too.
and also
About
I would say also
but
not requiring the viewer to watch the one before, so you could slightly refer to it. Those are also the best sequels. Like if you have to,
Blade Two, Blade
if you
Two. I
if
mean,
you
it
have
does a quick
yeah.
recap.
But
Yeah,
I'm saying but even like Terminator 2, like Terminator 2 to me that's the best sequel of all
you can
time.
watch. Yeah, you can watch
You
it
can
without
watch
even seeing the first movie.
and they tell you because they give you they
Right at the
tell you about what
top.
happened. Yeah, so it's like you get
Good
what
point.
you need to know about what happened, and if you want to go see it, you go see it. So that to me, that if you have to watch the one that came the movie that came before the sequel, then it's I feel like you're not really doing your job as a filmmaker. But yeah, I totally agree. You have to respect the world, respect the setup, the origins, but and add to it and
And
grow.
take it in a new
But then
direction.
also
Yeah.
and not require you and have it be a standalone film that also warrants having that actual sequel. So it's not like, oh, it's just a sequel to make a sequel. No, it's like
We
and
have
also,
another
yeah,
story
another
to
example.
tell.
I would say the best. No, I would say actually the best example of like what you were saying with genres is like probably the Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy, because it's like the first one was more like a adventure film or like a you know warrior type of film, or it's the origins film. Then the second was like a crime drama, and the third one is more like an epic, you could say war movies. So it's like at least like do something, do something to change to add to the actual genre, to the story, to the franchise. And obviously
Definitely.
the MCU is doing that too on a long scale, on a in
Larger scale with their
yeah, larger
franchises.
scale,
Yeah.
a larger scale with the world building. But that's how the MCU has been so successful and been interesting, and they've gotten so many people to keep coming back and watching these movies because of that. Like if they just kept doing the same thing over and over again, it would have it would have collapsed a long time ago. But they keep cranking out these
But here
different
we are.
episodes. Exactly.
Yet here
And
we
it's
are.
not stopping anytime soon.
Yet here we are. As much as
It
yeah.
is not going to stop. Once they drop that ball, then yeah, but no, there's so many different types of genres within the genre. And that's what you got to do. You have to switch it up, keep it interesting. So,
But with that being said, guys, as I said, this was our last story. But as you know, I always like to get into announcing Emerald Variants, which happens the very next day. It happens each Sunday, and then on these episodes of this week in review, I also always like to announce what is to come. So tomorrow, as I said, we will have our episode of Emerald variants. Give me one. Oh, there we go. Give me 1 second. But yes,
hmm
tomorrow we will air our breakdown of Emerald variants for episode 4. However, it's going to be a little different tomorrow. Instead of having the show air at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're going to do it a little earlier, in observance of July 4th and the holiday. We're going to be doing it a little earlier, so you can still enjoy it. Maybe you can come and join us just a tad bit earlier, grab your coffee, and enjoy the show with us. But just to make the announcement on the upcoming episode tomorrow, we will have guest hosts, the president of Fright Rags. So Mr. Ben Scrivens, president of Fright Rags, so like the custom horror t-shirt company that provides those custom t-shirts for many of those iconic films. Grabbing the rights for a lot of obscure as well as well-known horror films. He is well known for the apparel that he provides. As I said, he will be our guest host come tomorrow at 9 a.m. So that's 9 a.m. Pacific, or say 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And that's again for our show, Emerald Variants, the Loki series chat. So just make sure that you join us tomorrow morning. But with that being said, Jerome, before I let you go, I'm going to have you hop on here. Can you tell folks where they can find you?
I would also say you watch it on your phone while you're grilling tomorrow,
Right?
Anyway,
There you go.
that's
There
what you
you
gotta
go.
do. Come on, this is 2021. All right. Yeah. So definitely, you can, if you want to check out more episodes, support us. You can obviously check us out on YouTube, Movers Shakers Unlimited. We're on Instagram, Movers Shakers Unlimited, Facebook and Twitter. We're Move and Shake UNLTD, and we have a Patreon account if you guys want to support us, become a super fan. We have different tiers. That's patreon.com, Movers Shakers Unlimited. You can catch me right here on Twitter, JW Bourgeois. Oh, JW Bourgeois 21, and there's JW Bourgeois on Instagram. But yeah, thanks for checking us out, and we'll be back with some fresh new episodes every week. And have a happy July 4th weekend. Back to you, Brandon.
For sure, for sure. And as always, guys, I'm your host, Brandon Troy, host and co-creator of Movers and Shakers Unlimited. You can find me on Twitter at Brandon Troy ENT on Twitter. Man, Brandon Troy, it's early, guys. Brandon Troy ENT on Twitter and Brandon Troy _ ENT on Instagram. You can also, as Jerome said, you can find us on Twitter at Moving Shaking LTD and on Instagram at Moving Shakers Unlimited. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Be safe out there, and see you soon. Peace.